Ah, yeah. Okay, hey guys, it's Coco Jin, and welcome to Terrace House episode 44 review. Let's just call it The Thirsty Old Man. Masao, Wada the Chaser, was so thirsty for Risako in this episode. Like, I needed to get Gatorade and drink it and just like pour like lotion all over my body. This man was just thirsty, straight up thirsty. On one level, I really like this guy. But it's one of those things of where you like someone, but you can almost relate to them because you can see how they're messing up and it reflects how you mess up in real life. He's in the room talking to Ayo, like he's talking about his feelings and he's super nervous saying, oh, she's so nice, she's so pretty, her lips are so plump. And like the panel made a funny comment. I remember Takui was saying, like, all of them were saying it, like, he's cute. Even at the end of the episode, Risako says he's cute. But when he's saying things like that, like this is just, you just went out of bounds, like 3 steps out of bounds. Like, her lips are so plump, I wanna, like the way he was saying it. It's alright if you want to say you want to kiss her, but the way he was describing it is like, chill out, dude. Ayo drives him to get bread in the morning because he knows she likes this sort of breadery. I don't know, what would you call that? Bakery, that's the one. He knows she likes his bakery, so they get the bread. She wakes up and it's like, hey, okay, let's eat. He made some really amazing food. It looks great. He put a lot of effort into it and she likes it. When he told her, like, me and Ayo went to the bakery at 9 AM, she was impressed. He really put in work. He treated her like a gentleman. And he even said some funny stuff, you know, because he has a little belly. It's nice that someone's eating my food. Maybe it'll help me to lose weight. And she laughed. There was a little bit of banter. She wants to help him lose weight. So that was good. Especially in the last scene, I really love it, where the camera cuts and he's just like, oh, he's just like, nom, nom, nom. He just numbs on that bread. That was great. But anyway, after that, he takes her to the waterfall and it's beautiful. They take a nice little selfie. You're like, oh, this is cute. They're having a fun time. And you're like, okay, this could work. This is where it gets a bit too much for me. He takes her to the cafe. I quote, he says, I'm drunk on you. And I'm like, dude, don't, not first date, dude. You're on the first date with this chick. Chill out, Masao, chill out. Cut to the intro. I was watching with the Netflix viewers, so I was used to, I'm trying to live, you know that song. I'm used to that song. I don't like the Japanese version of this intro. I actually want to play the 11 17 song, even though everyone was hating on that song when it first came out, and some people still are, and they like Slow Down. And Slow Down, don't get me wrong, Slow Down is classic Terrace House, but this new song is good. I like the new song. Stop hating on the new song. Funny thing about this the intro as well, that we have scenes of Masao exercising, so it looks like he is gonna put in the work, and he will try and impress her with that. So points to him for that. Masao, he's talking with, I believe it's Yui and Maya, and he says he's unsure about how the date went because she was smiling, but she's always smiling, and she does look like a smiling person. As Ayo said last time, when she smiles, it's almost like she scrunches her face. She has this really like big smile. So he doesn't know how it went, but to be honest, I think it went well until the cafe scene where he's saying, I'm drunk on you. He says his switch is on, which I found hilarious, and Maya's like, Osan. And Osan basically means old man, because it does sound like the weird sort of thing that the old man would say, kind of like when the panelist was saying they're gonna do the lovers dance, which nobody says. Let me explain the dichotomy of thirst and the old man. A lot of people are thirsty, and sometimes that happens when you're younger. Not all the time, because there's a lot of older men that are thirsty, but particularly when you're younger, a lot of the time you're thirsty because you're still figuring out women, you're still figuring out how romantic relationships are, and you haven't had your first experience, so you're really thirsting to get like the attention from the ladies. When you're older, it's like when you get slightly older, there's also this thing of where it's less thirst and it's more about settling down, because you've got to think about it. Wada, or Masao, is at the point where he's successful in his career. He's a successful bassist in a band that is a pretty prolific band in Japan. At this point, he wants a serious relationship and possibly a wife from this Terrace House experience. Because remember, at the first point, he did say he wanted a serious relationship. And then when they asked him, are you looking for someone for marriage? When he first arrived in, he said yes. It's somewhere between thirstiness because of the comments like, I'm drunk on you, and also being an old man, which is why he's going so laser sharp into Risako, because he sees this woman that's 28 years old. She's a model in this Ginger magazine, which seems like a pretty decent magazine. She's pretty, she's accomplished. She has a certain composure to herself, you know? She's not trashy or a bit immature like some of the other girls. Like, Maya's a bit immature in some ways, and Yui, as motherly as she is, she has some naive tendencies. Out of the three girls, she's the most mature one. Obviously, his switch, or whatever he calls it, would go on when he sees her, because he's like, this is my shot at the romance, at the wife. Another example of this is when Maya asks him, when did you start to like her? And then he says, it's her voice. When I hear her voice, first heard her voice, he loved it. And then he continues to hear his voice. It sounds like the type of stuff I would definitely say about my first crush. But to be honest, it's not entirely bad, because Risako does say she's had most fun with him out of all of the guys she's met in the house. And like, if we take a look at the guys that she's been with, she did like Ao, because her and Ao went on a date, and when Ao was like, sorry, I don't want to take you to the soccer game because I feel like I want to take Yui, she seemed a little bit disappointed. And it's weird, because out of the three girls that I thought, when I saw Ao and I first saw him, out of the three girls that are in the house, I thought she was least likely to like him. But those two really got on. Like, it was just fun seeing those two banter with each other. But Kaito, Kaito was busy with the other girls, and I feel as though Kaito's too young for her, because Risako has more common sense than Seina. Sorry, that was a shot at Seina. And then there was Shota, who was basically British. No, seriously, he was British. I could kind of understand where they were coming from with not liking him with some of the things he said, but to me, he just seems like a very sarcastic person. And I was out the other day recording a video with a YouTuber, a Japanese YouTuber, that Find Your Love in Japan guy. He came to London, pretty cool guy, Nobita. And we were talking about Terrace House, and he said the Japanese people they're not super into sarcasm. So I think that's the reason why they didn't like him, and she really didn't like him. So it goes to show that out of the guys, yeah, Masao would be like the sort of more apt guy, because he's more, again, he's at the point where he's ready for something serious, and she looks like a serious lady ready for serious business. She sits aside with Yui, and they have a conversation, and she's like, she's had the most fun with him. She likes him on the inside, but he needs to lose weight. I could kind of sense that she likes him and thinks he's dependable, but it's like the panel said, there isn't that sort of sexiness to him. He's not escaping the sort of nice guy thing. And this is what I guess I'm getting at with the thirsty comments and the constant compliments. I feel as though if you constantly compliment in my experience anyway, if you constantly just compliment a woman, you're going to become good friends. If he's not making jabs and having like banter with her like some of the other guys do. I mean, like Ao takes it to the whole other, no, but Ao's actually pretty good with this, because Ao, he banters with the girls, like in terms of like, he makes jokes with them and does the booger thing, which is a bit too stupid, but he also compliments as well. But it seems like Masao is just on this side of constantly throwing out compliments. I feel as though he's not challenging Risako, and he's not providing any mystery. I think another thing that was funny was Yama's comments on kissing. It's interesting that we had this sort of panel discussion about kissing, and later on in the episode we do get a kiss. Yama, obviously being the adorable, lovable idiot that we know him to be, is talking about how, and he's a funny guy, he's the most hilarious person on that panel, is talking about how he has struggles when he's like making a girl laugh and all of this stuff, but he doesn't know how to turn that into a sort of kiss type situation. And then we get Sensei Takui giving us a lesson, and a really good lesson on how to make sort of a kiss be natural. What he's saying makes sense. You sort of like initiate contact like in a sort of natural way. Don't do this, just kind of go in for it. He was demonstrating this on Baba-chan. And she was like drinking, and she licked her lips, which is hilarious. They addressed the whole thing about should you ask someone for a kiss. In my opinion on this whole matter, I don't like to do that per se. Like I've done it a couple of times before. Both experiences were bad. Rather than when it naturally sort of naturally make that contact happen. I'm gonna analyze this as well a bit later on with what I mean by naturally making that happen, because I think Kaito was a great example of how you can actually make that happen. And I'm going to kind of oppose that to Shohei's thing. So we cut back to Maya and Ao, and they're having a little conversation. And basically, she says, dude, cut out. You need to stop doing the boogers thing, spitting out your mucus on the floor, and like picking your nose and sticking on at her, because she doesn't like that sort of stuff. She sees you as immature. Maya says that, oh, but she didn't say she doesn't like your personality. She just wants you to stop childish things like that. And he's like, that makes me happy. That's cool. And yeah, the panel do go on about this, and and Yama's funny because Yama says, oh man, do you really think just stopping that will make her suddenly like you? And the other panelists disagree. And honestly, I agree with Yama on this. I usually do agree with Yama on a lot of things because we have similar sort of sensibilities. As a man, I can truly, truly respect. Okay, yes, she doesn't like that, but yes, she says she hasn't said that she dislikes his personality. And yeah, we have seen them like playing catch together and like enjoying their time together. Yeah, we've seen all of that happen. I remember her saying this. Remember this clearly. She did say that the reason why they couldn't go out is because she could see that there'll be other problems that will arise with the relationship. As in, dude still hasn't got a job. Like, he's working on the personal training thing, but she, again, this is the girl that grilled Noah for ages because Noah, you know, she got out the little question thing because Noah was out partying. She likes a man that's like sort of well put together, working hard on their goals. Not to say he's not a hard worker, because he was playing football professionally and you have to be a hard worker to do that. But it seems like as soon as he came in the house, he had a long rest, and he's just taken a sort of big vacation, a bit too long of a vacation, you know. I feel as though they're good friends, but she wouldn't want to go out with him. Personally, that's what I can predict from that situation. And there's a cute little scene with Maya visiting Risako with her modeling, and it's nice. Risako is she's really pretty. Like, seeing those scenes is like, oh, she's very stunning. She's like what I think in my mind of a pretty Japanese woman would be Risako. So Enron, Mr. Enron, lead singer of my band. These chicks don't even know the name of my band. They're on me like they wanna hold hands. Anyway, Mr. Enron comes in and he's like, look, dude, Wada, you're the chaser. What you need to do is, you got about 7 weeks, bruh. Bruh, you got seven weeks. You need to ask this woman out every single week. Because that's what you used to do before you went on this 6-year slump. You used to have like a new girlfriend every 6 months. What you need to do is constantly ask her out. Now, the panel says that, oh, this is a good thing. Yeah, he's so smooth. No, you are all wrong. And this is why I disagree with all of them. I feel as though if he does that, he's going to come on too hard. I don't think it's going to... Maybe because I'm not the persistent type myself. I'm not the type to like chase. I'll usually go to the next one instead of like staying focused on one. I think personally, in this sort of situation, and from knowing like the type of person Risako is, I feel as though him chasing after her like that will probably scare her off. Maya and Kaito have the cutest ice skating date, which was really, really fun. You see, there's a scene that was hilarious where he's trying to push her and he couldn't, because she pushes him easily and he can't. And it's just a cute date. I mean, they're just cute together. Like, he tries to hold her hand and she's like, no. She's just playing like, you know, she doesn't want to give too much away. She says she's embarrassed, which might be it. But I feel as though she doesn't want to, you know, give it away too quickly. But that was really, really cute date. And we go back to the house after that date and we get some very vital information that Kaito might be moving abroad, which is troubling, but not, it doesn't mean this is it's troubling, but it doesn't mean this is the end of the story. Because in the past, we've seen couples where one of the people were going to move away and one stayed in like Japan, and they still got together and worked out for a while. Even though these two aren't still together, Armin and Martha got together at the end of Boys and Girls in the City, they stayed together for a while before they broke up. Which, again, if you get together in Terrace House, as far as I'm concerned, you're a success. Even though the only successful relationships we've had from the show that are still going are Shion and Tsubasa from this season. And my man Taishi, yeah, I said it, I'm a Taishi fan. He reveals that he's gonna leave, and then they have this cute little scene under the covers, like where they're kissing, and you see him. And this is what I was saying. This is where we can go back to the whole sort of kissing thing. I think Kaito, again, you can tell Kaito's had some experience with women, because of the way he does it. Like, again, they're under the covers and they're watching the film. It's sort of like classic Terrace House, because it reminds me of Guy in Aloha State when he's like one piecing it with Nikki, and they're by one piecing it, they're watching One Piece, and then they snuggle and then you see the kiss or whatever. Because a bad example of this will be, as much as I love the guy Shohei, where he grabbed Sana like this and went, and then got her into like a kiss, which was a bit too forceful and it seemed a bit weird. It just seemed a bit, it wasn't tactful. The classic sort of thing is what Kaito did. He said the classic line of, "Oh, are my hands sweaty?" And then he grabs her hand and they hold it for a bit. Like when Kaito did that and I was looking at it, I'm like, that's something that like instinctively I try and do all the time if I like someone. What I'll do is kind of like initiate a sort of contact with their hand, because that's a good way to get into that mood. So usually, because I have like bigger hands, or big hands, what I'll do is say, "Oh, your hand looks small," or something like that. I'll try and do that, and then try and get them to compare their hand to mine like that. And then usually their hand's a lot smaller, and then I just kind of naturally like hold their hand for a bit, and whether they go like straight away or they hold it for a bit, that's the way you know if you're in that sort of zone and you're ready to like sort of progress on. So in cases where they have like sort of like held it back, I'm like, okay, this could go somewhere. Obviously, because they're like underneath the sheets and stuff, and in the background they're watching some film that we don't know, which Yama feels is the most important part about this scene, not the fact that they're going to kiss. They sort of, from there, initiate eye contact. They're underneath the sort of covers and stuff. It's dark. They have the covers there, and then he looks at her, and then they go in for the smooch. And that was perfect. And that's what you should do. You should sort of hold the hand, and then sort of go in for eye, say something soft, like bring down the volume, like Takuri says, and then look for a bit, and then you'll kind of see from the sort of body language of the person, and if you're leaning in, if they like kind of lean in as well, whether that's going to be a natural sort of thing. Initiating contact and like what Takuri said with like walking beside the person is a better way than verbally asking for it. I feel as though if you verbally ask for a kiss, it seems unnatural. It should be more of a sort of physical thing. As soon as you realize the person's not into it, you can kind of back away. Like when I've done that hand thing and then done that and the person's like, "No, I'll back away," I just back away completely, you know? But the asking seems really unnatural to me. But besides that, they have a little nice exchange. She's like, "Oh, why are you kissing me?" And she's like, "Don't you like it?" But she's like, "No, it's alright." Anyway, we cut back to my man Masao. He's cooking again. So he's cooked 3 times in this episode. Cooking 1 with Risako at the start, which is a beautiful dinner. 2, when he's with Ayo and Maya and he cooks that nice sort of spaghetti egg thing, which looked beautiful. And 3, now he's cooking this homemade curry, which everybody says is delicious and tastes not like way better than any homemade curry, which is where this guy is getting points. He's racking up a lot of points from some of the stuff he's doing here. This is where, again, the thirst and the old man thing settles in, because he's like, Risako's like, "I'm going to be going away for a week." And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be devastated. Absolutely devastated." And I'm like, and he keeps going on about how, "Oh, are you the type that wants to be babied?" And she's like, "Yeah, I like to call my boyfriends Kun or Chan." And he's like, "Masao Chan." And she's just laughing. And then there's this other scene where it's just hilarious, where he's like, she asks him a question, "Do you like it like this?" And he's like, "Whatever you like, I like." And he's turned like this, and he just turns back at her, and she looks, and she just laughs. And it's just like, dude, you're coming on too strong. And he just goes on till where he says the biggest thing that really made me think this man has screwed himself over. I really thought at this point, honestly, I'm just going to say this in the record books. I think he's screwed it up with this woman because he's coming on too hard, too strong. He says to her, he asks her a question. He says, have you found romance? And she basically says something along the lines of not sure yet. She reciprocates back the question and says, have you found romance? And he said, yeah, I found romance. And he says it in a very suggestive way, meaning she is the person he's found romance with. And she's like, just laughing it up, and she's like, oh, that's nice. It's just too much too soon. Everyone feels like that it's too much too soon. He even says himself that, oh, I slipped out that I liked her. Maybe I should have said it in the playroom. No, don't say it yet. Like, just don't say it yet. You're too fast, too soon. The episode pretty much ends there. Risako talks to Ayo about it and how she thinks he's nice and she likes him and she thinks he's cool. But you could sense there's a bit of like unsureness when she's saying this because you could sense that she just feels he's coming on way too strong. At this point, I've said everything I need to say. We are going to go through the winners and the losers of this episode. Okay, first off, I'm going to leave the hardest one to last because that's Masao, definitely the hardest one. But let's do the easy one first. Yui, she doesn't get a win or a lose, she gets a neutral. The reason why she gets that neutral is because she did nothing in this episode. She was in a couple of conversations, but in the conversations she didn't say much. She was just kind of listening to what the other person was saying, and didn't really add that much. So yeah, Yui needs more screen time, which she'll probably get in the next episode with Ayo. And I want to see more of her storyline because she's funny. Moving on, Ayo gets he barely gets a win because again, like in this episode, actually no, he gets a win because he listens to Masao's thirstiness and sort of comforts the guy, and he's making moves with Yui, so he can get a win. Risako gets a win for being an awesome model and showing off her awesome skills, and she was really like the banter that she had with Masao on the date was cool. She was just a really good sport this episode, so she definitely gets a win. She's doing her thing, and we all enjoy seeing it, Maya gets a win. Just fun to watch her this episode. She was smiling, she was joking around, she made some like puns at Masao, so she gets a win too. Next up, we are gonna do Kaito, Mr. Kaito Kid, like Kaito Kid from Detective Conan. But anyway, I would say this guy gets a super win. He's the biggest winner of this episode. Like, he gave me a new sort of line to like initiate like contacts. Like when he was like, "Oh, I'm hand sweaty." Like this dude was smooth. He needs to go to the gym a bit more and get those gains because like he couldn't push and maybe it was just the ice that they were on. Like that part of ice was a bit weird, but that's an excuse. Come on, get some gains on a little bit more. I need to get my gains on too. But he was smooth. He was absolutely smooth. He got the kiss. He was just cool. He was manly. So he gets the win, biggest win of the episode. But finally, we move on to Mr. Masao. Okay, this one was the big one where I was debating whether I should give him a loss or whether I should just about give him a win. And the reason why this is the reason why it's so difficult. Because I like the guy and I want him to be with Risako, but I feel as though they're not going to get together because he's screwing himself over with his constant thirstiness. He needs Gatorade. Give this man Gatorade. I feel as though he's screwing it up and that he needs to chill out and relax. But at the same time, the reason why this was a hard one, because again, like on 3 occasions, he cooked really awesome food. The date that he took her on, despite the weird, like sort of constant pushy lines, was actually pretty fun. It had sort of 3 parts to it. A nice little lunch. you know, take her to the waterfall, and then at the calf. It was a great little sort of excursion that they had. I liked that. He again cooking for everybody. He's being funny and sort of, you know, chipper. I like that about him. But I just feel the reason why a part of me wanted to give him a loss was because even though I feel he's being a cool guy, I feel as though he's sabotaging himself. So my final verdict is I just about give him a win. Like just about he gets a win because he did a little he was just an excellent cook and an excellent entertainer this episode. But if he carries on with this, he will get a lose. Not because I dislike him, but because he's screwing himself over. Come on, dude. You're 30 or 31. 30 or 31. Man, come on, man. You need to like work on the game at this point. So that'll be it for this Terrace House episode review. Episode 44 of Opening New Doors. Tell me your thoughts on all of this down below. What do you think will happen next? Do you think that Ao will get with Yui and Yui will reciprocate his feelings? Do you think that Masao is going to continue to be thirsty? Do you think that... Actually, we all know what's going to happen with Kaito and Maya. Those two are getting together. But do you think that Shio's going to be super worried about their sort of relationship? Tell me about the kissing stuff, because I really want to go in depth with that at some point because of some of the hate that was launched at Shohei. I want to sort of analyze that, but tell me your thoughts on that stuff down below. Anyway, this has been Kojin on doing a Terrace House episode review. Ja, matane.